As we know, we offer the opportunity for questions. I want to, first of all, say thank you. It's just so encouraging to see you all here this morning. What an encouragement it is to me. It's annoying to me that, of course, we have to switch the clocks on Sunday. Why not Monday? Got to do it on Sunday. How about Saturday? Everybody's sleeping in anyway. Sunday. It's annoying, but anyway. Yeah. It's an encouragement to see you. Yes, Ruth Ann.
I have a comment on Jerusalem.
Yeah.
When we were there, we went on a tour underneath the city. There's like old tunnels down there that they didn't know were there anyway. And the tour guide was obviously Jewish, and he kept talking about Herod because Herod rebuilt the temple. And that's the Western Wall that they wail at.
Right.
The one that Herod built.
Right, not the one Solomon built, the one Herod built.
The one that Herod built and was also destroyed, and all that's left is that wall.
Right.
And he kept, anytime he talked about Herod, he's like, Herod's the worst. Anytime. Every time he mentioned his name, he's like, I'm not trying to say anything good about Herod. He's awful, but anyway, he did this and this, and he rebuilt the temple. Yet they still worship at that wall. They hate Herod, but he built that temple, and they'll still worship at that one.
Right.
Like he knows that it's not the old temple.
Yeah.
It's the one Herod built.
Yeah.
But he'll still worship at it.
Yeah, they loved Herod's temple. It was incredible. I really think that the Jewish people today should love Herod, because he almost got done what they got done 30 years later. 30 years later, they killed him. Herod almost got it done. Boy, if Herod would have got it done 30 years before, then saved them the trouble.
Well, and history will show that the Jews do like Herod. I mean,
Josephus was a big fan of Herod, actually. Yeah. But Herod almost killed Christ. Tried, didn't quite get it done. They got it done 30 years later. Yes, Wes.
You're making the case that nothing in Jerusalem today is original.
Nothing. That's making the case. Yeah, nothing. Not one thing. Not one thing. Yes.
The stones themselves, right?
Well, best I can tell, they were original. They were. But not in the case. Not as part of the temple. Dug up and reused. In that case, yes.
who does he say rebuilt this old city then? Who does he think?
That was just rebuilt over time.
Okay.
By many different, and even secular historians, the number I've read of the times that Jerusalem has been rebuilt, the number I've read is 17 times. Destroyed and rebuilt 17 times. Yes, Dan?
I remember from listening to Bill Kaiser's sermon that he said that from the archaeologists that he's read, they said that even the look of the stones, how they were milled and stuff, you can tell what era they were from and who produced them and who quarried them.
Yeah.
And he said they were Herodian stones. They match
Right.
the style of the Herodian stones.
Right. Yeah. From what I've read the same thing. That there's a discussion between the archaeologists. Was it Hadrian, and who was it? But the stones were Herodian stones. That seems to be an understanding. Of course, if you believe that's part of the temple, then they'd have to be Herodian stones. But there's a lot of problems with where those stones are, not where the original temple was. In fact, pretty far away. In any case, you have, as I've read, you have contemporary witnesses saying it's nothing left. Yes, John.
I've read that when the Romans burned the temple, it melted the gold. The gold ran down into the stones, which is why the soldiers dug up all the stones.
Right.
Down to the foundation, looking for the gold.
Yeah. And that same book, Josephus says that. Yeah. Which, I mean, would you do that if you were a soldier? I would. That's what I would. And you did at the time. I mean, what are you going to do? Just stay here now? Gold? Hey, this guy's finding gold running down the basement there. Tear apart the basement, find the gold. Guarantee that's what I'd be doing. Me and my friends. Yeah. my friends and I.
On the superstition,
Yeah.
you think those chiefs did have the power to kill people sometimes?
I do. I do believe that. I do believe that however it happened, we might call it psychological or whatever, I do believe that they had power over other people. I do believe that. My basis for saying that is that earlier we saw that the beast and the false prophet, they actually deceive people and they come up with signs themselves. And it's possible for those who don't believe to generate signs. I don't know how it all works, but I believe that they had some, I don't think they could kill people at will, but I think they had enough power to get people in fear that they could kill them, and that's really all you need. You don't really need to kill anybody. If you get people believing that you can do it, that's it. Then after that, I think there's only one thing to study then, really. There's only one thing that you need to know. How to get power over other people through the black arts. You wouldn't become an electrical engineer. That would be ridiculous. How do I control other people and kill them? I love reading about Peyton and other missionaries. I'm thinking about, I just really, there's a lot of wonderful missionaries who are completely inspiring, and he's certainly one of them. I was glad to have been exposed to him as a young person when I was very young. And I hope other young people in this church will be exposed to him as well, and other missionaries like him. Yes, John.
Comment about the smoke rises forever.
Yeah.
Not being very Christian.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I've given you these verses before, but at the very end of the book of Isaiah, the last two verses, 23 and 24, the prophet says, and it shall be from new moon to new moon, and from Sabbath to Sabbath, all mankind will come to bow down before me, says the Lord. Then they shall go forth and look on the corpses of the men who have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, and their fire shall not be quenched, and they shall be an abhorrence to all mankind. The fire won't be quenched, the worm won't die, the smoke rises forever, but it says they'll go out and look on it. Obviously with satisfaction.
Right?
Doesn't sound very Christian.
Right.
Doesn't sound very nice, and yet you are affirming the Lord's judgment.
Yeah.
And when we affirm the Lord's judgment, we are on the right side of everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We don't take our standard of what's nice and judge him by it. Thanks, John. There's a little, I don't know, we get some feedback here, maybe so, maybe no. But this Revelation study here, is a little kind of nerve-wracking. It's a little bit uncomfortable. Is it like, I don't know, can we move on here? What do you think? Anybody want to respond to that now? I'm asking questions. Yes, Marissa.
Well, I was just thinking when you, just that whole segment on the Wailing Wall probably isn't part of the temple. I feel like my Christian, all of my friends, if I posted that on Facebook or something, there would be an explosion. The people would be so upset to hear that. It's just, I don't know, thinking through this and even trying to talk about it with your Christian friends is so earth-shattering. So I guess that's the uncomfortableness I feel, is just I don't know if I'm ready to even talk about this with other people because it'll just make them crazy. It'll make them crazy.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a minute. Okay? I've said before that when I was there, I thought the Wailing Wall was completely idolatrous. I really hated it. Could it be, just asking, could it be that the Jewish people, the Orthodox Jewish people that hate Christ and hate Christians, could it be they're not the only ones who have made an idol out of that wall? Could it be? Just asking.
I mean, is it God's gonna be closer to me and so he's gonna hear this prayer that I stuck here better than he would if I just sat at home and prayed? What's the superstition that goes with that?
I think it's like a talisman. You know, it's like something connects us to the past, you know, and it's this object. And if I am just close to this object, then I'll be close to God. It is pure superstition. It is idolatry. I don't see it as anything else. Everybody okay with that? Yeah, I definitely get thrown out of almost any pulpit in North America for saying what I just said. Well, I don't know if I got thrown out, but yeah, and then
I thought that the location of the temple was pretty certain. Are you saying it's less certain than I think?
oh, I don't know how much you think, but how certain it is, but it certainly could be. In my study on this, there's a lot of discussion on where the temple was. And from what I can tell, the archaeologists that I was exposed to are like, there's no way the temple was where they say it. This is not a temple wall. It was very far away from where these stones are.
But even the Dome of the Rock location, you don't think that's the right one?
No, not even, not close. It's too close. Even then, but I know that's a big deal. Yeah, that's where it is. But the Dome of the Rock is, well, obviously that's a Muslim thing there. But to Kaiser's point that much of what has been built there has been built by Muslims. Of course, they controlled Jerusalem for how long, right? That's what the Crusades were about, of course. But we know they built the Dome of the Rock. What else did they build? We don't know. What we do have, of course, is the testimony that you couldn't even find Jerusalem. Yes?
Just a side point, you talk about the wall being idolatrous, which I don't disagree with at
Right.
all. But what about, the excitement of potentially seeing Jesus' tomb
Right.
or something like that? I mean,
Right.
I think there's a lot of artifacts. Oh, is this where, Christ said to Peter about them, this rock, and, we find these areas like, oh, wow, is that also idolatrous, or is that just being excited about the history?
Right. Yeah, and would it be cool if Noah's Ark, for example?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Find Noah's Ark.
I'd be tempted to take a
Yeah,
trip there.
yeah, yeah,
That was-
yeah. And we keep on being teased by that one. I mean, we've been teased by Noah's Ark ever since I've been a kid. I still remember hearing a broadcast on KYW about Noah's Ark when I was very young about that. I think there's a difference between understanding where things happen historically. Paul saying Christ died for sins according to the Scriptures, was raised again the third day according to the Scriptures, and being appreciative and grateful for the history of what God has done and being able to see even where it was done versus feeling like, okay, I am now, as we got a chance to see the tomb, like I am now closer to Jesus because I'm actually right by the tomb where we believe he rose. I am definitely no closer to Jesus being near the tomb where he rose than if I was in Detroit, Michigan, or LA, Los Angeles, for example, even worse. But see, this, I think the Wailing Wall is actually an idea that in order to really get close to God and touch God, you have to be at that wall. That's the closest you'll get to him. And that's what I think is actually idolatrous. I think it's wonderful. I mean, the Noah's Ark thing has always intrigued me. I believe it's going to be found sometime, somewhere. But that doesn't make me believe anymore. Or if I could get to be in the ark, it's like, oh, this is like, and you and I probably read some of those testimonies. People get like, they go to Jerusalem or whatever, right? And they have this really spiritual experience. Like, oh man, I'm so spiritual now. I'm just so much closer to God. Problems for me with that kind of a thing. Somebody else. I mean, we're talking about like real life here now where we live, so this is good. Yeah.
I heard it said that there's enough pieces to cross to build Noah's Ark. I don't know if that's literally true. There's a lot more than would fit in the
Yeah,
cross.
right, yeah. Maybe it's not enough. But I mean, that's where the Roman Catholics got that going on, right? They do. I went to Washington Bible College, and they had a huge like altar thing made out of marble in the front. And Washington Bible College campus had been bought from a Roman Catholic seminary. And do you know what made it special? That altar was very special in Roman Catholic theology at the seminary. You know what made it special? You'll never guess, so I'll have to tell you. It contained one of John the Baptist's teeth. We all learned that one of John the Baptist's teeth was in this altar, and that made it. You're closer. You know, we're more spiritual now. One of John the Baptist's teeth is in here. And see, I think that's where this kind of nonsense winds up. The wall. I think you do that. After a while, it's like, well, whatever. You know, that's why we have all these pieces of the cross. It makes us more spiritual. That's a problem. Yes.
Kaiser talked about the size of Jerusalem originally was a lot bigger.
He talks about the size of it, and with maps and so forth, from contemporary drawings.
When I was there, it seemed small.
Yeah,
The actual city.
the old city does seem pretty small. Yeah. The temple itself was extremely big, and Jerusalem was a lot bigger initially than what the old city is now. It was huge. It was impregnable. That's one of the things that Jeremiah talks a lot about in chapters 50 and 51, the impregnability of Babylon, impregnable. And Jerusalem was. And in the Josephus passages, they talk about the Rome with all their military might looked at Jerusalem and said, we cannot take that place. Can't be done. It was big, and it was you couldn't take it. But you could take it when you have the people killing them, doing your job for you, killing each other, and destroying their own food. Then you can take it. Even then it was difficult. All right, I thank you for your kind attention here this morning.